Previously on Alonso's way. So we're revving up to 5 red lights here at Monza. And it's 5 lights out and away we go. We got a pretty decent start from pole position, but obviously the two Mercedes are easily going to try and get the better of us with that power unit advantage. And immediately Lewis Hamilton dives down the inside for the lead. And we're going to try and hold it round the outside, but as you can see Hamilton's obviously got the right racing line as he goes round and takes the lead of the race. So drop down to second for the start, which is not great for our girls as we're concerned. Going into this next, as you can see, our tyres are completely freezing. Going into this next corner, for some weird reason, all four, there's actually another car, I think Rosberg there. All these cars are actually going really slow. Luckily we managed to get around the outside with Danny Kvyat. Coming around the last corner at Parabolica now, and we're going to take our second win in a row, our third of the season, at the Italian Grand Prix.
It's nearing 6 o'clock here in Singapore, and that means it's nearly time for the evening practice session. The sun has set and the track is illuminated by the extremely strong floodlight system. The stage is set then for some great F1 action to commence. You have to say, since its inaugural Grand Prix back in 2008, Singapore has been a great Formula One success story. It was Formula One's first ever night race, taking place under these powerful spotlights, with the different coloured lights in the city surrounding the circuit. It definitely makes for a fantastic racing experience for both the drivers and for the fans.
It's certainly fantastic for the fans, but a huge challenge for the drivers. Racing at night is one thing, but on top of that you're in amongst the barriers on an incredibly bumpy surface, not to mention the extreme humidity that drivers face. All of this makes it the most physically and mentally demanding race on the calendar.
This is the kind of track that eats rear tyres for breakfast, or so I'm told by more experienced drivers than myself.
No matter how good a driver is at managing their throttle application to limit rear slip, they can't always overcome a car that's inherently bad at looking after its rear tyres. Here we have a lot of low-speed corner exits, which means a whole load of energy, heat and tyre wear.
Hey guys, I'm Viper and welcome back to Alonso's Way, episode 13. This is the episode around Singapore, so a bit of an interesting track, Singapore. Not too bad, a bit controversial back in 2008 when the race first happened, but not bad. And obviously that did star our star, Spanish star, Fernando Alonso, so it's pretty weird coming to this circuit and knowing that. It does seem weird, but as per usual you join us in practice for our first and only actually practice lap. I think this happened in S.p.A as well, but it was one of those occasions where you could do a lap, it was fine, but then just like every other track you could not really improve if there was a car in your way or anything like that. So that's the reason why at the moment you can see that we've got a car in front of us, Bottas, and for the whole, and I'm not kidding, for this whole lap that you're about to see we actually stay behind Bottas, but we get quite close towards the end. And Singapore's known for corner cutting and extending track limits and everything as we go a bit wide into that corner there. It's one of those tracks that despite how difficult it is, nailing a lap like Monaco feels that much satisfying, unlike some laps like Monza and things like that. When you proper nail a lap it feels satisfying. Sometimes I have quite a bit of oversteer going on that bridge, so that's something to point out as well, and it's worth mentioning. But as I mentioned in the last episode with the thumbnails, is that I said that the thumbnails that you'll see, the background image for the thumbnails is from most likely from the video. Now this is like, oh well, that's pretty cheap shot, you know, pretty cheap trick that you could use. But then again, people like Aravernaut and CalHD, they've used games from, you know, screenshots and images from the game. So why not? You know, if it works for them, it would probably work for me. I know that's like, oh, you're just copying them then. As you see, we close right up to Bottas. But you know, it's one of those things that in the end it works, but then sometimes people go, oh, it's a bit bland. But like I said, the thumbnails are going to be changing as we come across the line for a 1:48.1. Was fast enough to get us third in practice, but not that bad. Pretty good for primes, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's like I said, the background images will change to the real life photos once the real races have passed. But enough of that blabber, on to qualifying now, where you'll be joined by both of the commentators.
The sky is dark and the lights are on. Welcome to qualifying here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore. How will Nico Rosberg be approaching this qualifying session?
Well, he'll know that it's crucial to start this race in pole position, so he has to deliver the maximum when it really matters. We all know he's got the speed in qualifying. He's shown that time and time again, but now's the time to make it happen.
Right, so qualifying time for the Singapore Grand Prix. And this is going to be very pretty tricky because of our straight line speed. But as I said in the last episode, downforce is key here. And our car is quite good in terms of downforce. You can see we already took the lead on the first two corners there. And this is a pretty interesting qualifying for the most part until you reach the end. Of course, things get a bit more different. But we actually managed to stay out in front. As you see, the positions change. And now this is where we lose time. See P5 currently. I don't know if we're going to drop any more positions. But we got excessively close to that wall as we did drop into P6 there. P7 even. Going through this corner though, we actually made up quite a few positions. And this segment here, I think, if I nail it properly, it works. If I can nail this sector, I feel it's very satisfying. So it wasn't actually one of the most surprising things. I'll actually get to that when it comes around to it. But going through this left-hander, as you remember, it used to be like a right left-hander, I think it was, or a left right-hander. I'm not sure which way around it is. That corner there, we got excessively close to the wall on the exit, so not bad. And again, clipping the wall. There's actually a weird little thing that, unlike the previous year's games, if you go wide, it actually invalidates your lap time. I know that it doesn't time trial, but obviously in qualifying it would be seen as exceeding track limits, you know, exceeding corner cutting, or exceeding track limits. So it's a bit different. Actually, going into this last sector though, and we went a bit wide there, went over the curbs a bit, which is not great for our tyres, of course. And coming around through the tunnel, you'll see the arrow behind us at the bottom there. It's actually going to disappear. Now, as we go around these corners, you'll notice you can see the AI ghost of, I think it's Hamilton. He's miles back. And as we're coming across the line, we are going to take pole position here by, I don't know how much, but we did a 144.723, and that was on options with DRS and everything, so pretty good. And Alonso obviously looks happy, as per usual. With his engineer there, he looks happy, but obviously that's enough from me. On to the commentators.
And that's P1 for Fernando Alonso. He'll be looking forward to tomorrow's race now, with real hope that he can convert this into a race win.
Well, it was a fantastic result, but he'll know you don't get any points on a Saturday, and to make this a great weekend for the team, he needs to do the same thing tomorrow.
As you can see from the qualifying results, Alonso ourselves qualified pole 1.9 seconds ahead of Hamilton. That's how much we gained in that last sector alone. I think it was dead close between the first and the middle one. Then that last sector we just had it all to go. 2 Mercedes, next to 2 Ferraris. Daniel Ricciardo managed to fit his Red Bull between the 2 Williams. Then it's Grosjean's Lotus in 9th. Sauber's Felipe Nasr in 10th. Verstappen 11th. Button, our teammate, 12th, so pretty good qualifying, although not in the top 10. Force India of Nico Rosberg 13th. 14th is Sainz. 15th Maldonado. Ericsson 16th, Danny Kvyat 17th, so not a great day for his Red Bull days, still. Needs to crack on with this good qualifying progress, I think. Perez 18th, obviously the 2 manners around out the rear back row. If you look at the gap, it's 10.5 seconds to Roberto Merhi, so pretty big difference in lap times, but apart from that, it's on to the race.
Good evening and welcome to the Marina Bay Street Circuit, a track that always provides excitement and an element of unpredictability on this difficult to drive street track. Welcome to the Singapore Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso might be starting from pole today, but he knows the hard work is only just beginning. In practice, the car was experiencing a lot of rear tyre wear compared to his rivals, so he'll need to use all of his experience and racecraft to even be in contention for the win today.
His work isn't done yet. He still needs to take the advantage of being on pole and turn it into a race win. As long as he has no mechanical issues and can stay out of trouble in that first corner, he could make this the perfect weekend.
Well, it's not been the best season so far for Mercedes. The Brackley-based team have struggled when they were expected to be one of the front runners. Where's it been going wrong for them?
It's hard to say. They have a good power unit, they have two of the best drivers on the grid with Lewis and Nico, and they have excellent management. But something just isn't clicking for them. I'm sure they're working flat out at the factory in a bid to turn their fortunes around.
Right, so it's race day here at Singapore, and we're going to quickly load our setup as we usually do. I'm not going to reveal the specs, but you probably guess. Looking at the race strategy though, we're actually going to, again, just like in Monza, I think, and Belgium as well, it wouldn't actually let us fit the prime tyres. I did try to get to fit the prime tyres, but it only let us fit the options, so it's a bit of a bummer. So we're going to start on options for the race, but let's draw on the drivers down on the grid. We're going to rev up to 5 red lights here at Singapore. It's lights out and away we go. We get a pretty decent start, but the Mercedes of Hamilton and Rosberg are probably going to get a better one as per usual. As you see, a weird glitch happens with the name tag there, and Hamilton tries to slip away down the inside, but we hold it around the outside. And as per usual, we're going to stick on board for this whole first lap. Actually, it's actually a bit interesting. As per usual, it is interesting. First lap's always interesting. Going down this back straight though, the downforce, despite how much downforce we have got, our speed is just absolutely awful. And Hamilton glides past, but we're going to try and hold it round the outside. We actually hit him a little bit, and Alonso raises his hand up in the air in despair. Obviously, he doesn't like the fact that we've hit people, so maybe that was aimed at me. I don't know. But yeah, comfortable out in the lead. It's pretty good. I will not lie. And coming around into the next set of left-right-handers here, we've got a pretty decent chance of getting some decent points, I think. But yeah, for the lead, it looks pretty good that we might get another win. We've got 2 wins already. I think this will be our 4th win if we win this race. But at the moment, let's just look at the race itself, because obviously, don't say, "Oh yeah, you're going to win a race," because we might not. You know, there's always that occasion. Hamilton might lead away at the start, but he might never win. You know, he might not win the race all the time. So there you go. Something for everybody to remember. Coming under this bridge, I don't know why, but this track really shows off the game's graphics in the best quality possible, I think. There's just something about the whole Singapore and at night circuit that really shows off the game well. Nothing against Bahrain, because that's a night race as well, but you know, there's something about this circuit that's really good. We set the fastest lap, but again, it's only lap 1. Moving on to the end of lap 3 and coming on to the end of lap 3 actually. You see a Red Bull in front, Danny Kvyat going very, very slow. I believe he lost his front wing. But moving on to lap 7, yep, literally nothing happened. We managed to extend the gap. We're going in for our first and only pit stop of the day. So we're going to change onto the yellow prime tyres, which is the softs. So we should be able to keep everything in hand. As you can see on the mini-map at the bottom left, we've actually got a couple of cars behind us and everyone's pitting. Except for one that I noticed that comes around the last corner and doesn't pit. Now, at first when this happened, I thought this was actually Hamilton. As you go past, it's actually Max Verstappen. I think he might slide on the options. If he did, he's proper extending those tyres, and that's a bit crazy. But if he was starting on primes, it was easy to see why he stayed out a bit longer than us. But moving on to the end of lap 8, we actually managed to catch him. We're like 3.5 seconds back, but we actually managed to catch him come the end of lap 8. And literally for the whole race, absolutely nothing happened. Honestly, we led away, we extended the gap even more. And we're going to come around the last 2 corners at Singapore and win our 3rd race in a row here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit.
Fernando Alonso's skill has been rewarded today with a fantastic race win to top off what was an excellent weekend.
Sometimes a driver just feels comfortable in the car and is dialed into the track, making for an unbeatable combination.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So that's it then. That's the race results for Singapore. Ourselves winning our third in the row by 14 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. Then it's Raikkonen in third, so pretty good showing for Ferrari. Rosberg fourth, Bottas fifth. Ricciardo 6th, so he actually moved up a position. Massa 7th, Grosjean 8th, Verstappen 9th, and surprisingly, Jenson Button 10th. So we managed to get a double scored points situation today, which was really good. Both Force India's Nico Hulkenberg just missing out on the points there. You see Toro Rosso, Sainz in 12th, and Ericsson, Sauber in 16th. Two Manas 16th, 17th. But the main reason why was because Danny Clear lost his front wing, and that caused him to get lapped. And you can see Sebastian Vettel retired. The guy who was second in the championship has retired, so we've managed to extend our lead by the looks of things. And Felipe Nasr got disqualified. I thought this was rather odd, and as you're about to see in a minute, I'll go into race director, and as per usual I'll go into incidents. As you can see, we got one for corner cutting on lap 2 apparently, but also on lap 2, Danny Clear got 2 warnings, one with Raikkonen and one with Vettel, so he's collided with both Ferraris. Then Nasr got a warning for colliding with Verstappen, and then apparently he parked in a dangerous location and got disqualified. Obviously we got 2 at the end there, lap 5 and lap 11 for exceeding track limits. I was expecting more, but thankfully we didn't get any more than that. As for Drivers' Championship, we're now leading by 31 points, which is staggering really. We're the only driver to suppress 200 points instead of 2,000 points, so I'm not being mad. But yeah, we're the only driver over 200 points, so that's pretty good. You see Raikkonen 4th. Nobody's really moved in the championship, so 2 Williams are still one after the other. Hamilton's moved up, well, he's still 5th, but he's gained more points on Raikkonen. Button's moved up to 12th, so I think that was the only mover really. We've got Perez 17th, Ericsson 18th, still haven't scored any points on the 2 Manas at the bottom, Will Stevens and Roberto Merhi. And as for the rest of things, I think Force India have yet to score. Yeah, Perez has yet to score as I mentioned, but Toro Rosso will need to up their game with points in my opinion. But as you see in the constructors again, nobody moves. I think Ferrari's had the gap closed. I think they were 39 points last time out, now they're 30 points bit ahead of Mercedes as they gain points on them. We're 3rd, Williams 4th, Red Bull 5th, Lotus 6th, Toro Rosso 7th, Force India 8th, Sauber 9th, and Mana 10th, so still no points scored. But I believe the points gap between ourselves and Williams is currently 45 points, so that's pretty interesting to find out. But anyway, that's been episode 13 of Alonso's Way. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to the like button and be sure to subscribe if you're new. But yeah, there's going to be next few races I think we should be strong at because there's not as many straights. I think Russia's got a big one, obviously Abu Dhabi, but I think races like Brazil, Mexico's got a long straight as well, but races like Brazil, Japan I think, and I think it's the US one, should be alright because they've got a lot of corners compared to straights. But until next time, I've been Vibe Racing, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you guys for episode 14, which will take place at the Suzuka circuit located in Japan. Until next time, ta-ra!